I remember being in the shop the next year in the supermarket, and there was like a Guinness World Record book on the side. I thought, oh, let's look at this. And I opened it, and I was in it because of them Grand Prix. And I was just like, oh my God, I've made it. This is it. This is the best moment of my life.
Hello and welcome to My Defining Moments, the podcast where sports stars discuss the 5 moments that define their career. Today's guest is a 3-time world Taekwondo champion, double European gold medalist, and she won Olympic bronze in Rio. Bianca Walkden has had to overcome her fair share of injuries and controversies. However, she's hoping for a golden triumph in Tokyo this summer. But first, her 5 defining moments. Hi Bianca, thank you so much for joining me on My Defining Moments podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
It sounds like it's been a crazy year for everybody. How's the last year been for you?
Yeah, it's been a bit up in the air really, hasn't it? The postponement of the Olympics and everything has just like threw my whole plan off, really. So, but yeah, it's been up and down, and it's just such strange times that we live in now, and the new normal is just so crazy. But hopefully this year things can go back to a little bit of the old normal, and we can get the Olympics off and we can start, and hopefully the Olympics will be like the starting point of going back to normal.
How was it for you when they did postpone it? Was that a bit of a shock? Did you stop training? What did you do?
Yeah, so we actually didn't find out till March time. I think it was about then. At the end of March, and we were still training all that time for it before, even though we heard it on the news with China and everything like that. But we didn't know really what was going to happen because so many places got locked down before us. So we were like, oh, what do we do? So we had to like keep training, but in our minds we were like in limbo because we were like, do we still go 100% or do we like stop a little bit? Because in that zone you can get really injured because you don't want to push too much, but if you go half-hearted and do enough, then you can get really injured. So it was quite hard really. But then when we found out at the time, I was so devastated. I thought, oh God, no, I was ready. It was only another like 4 months until we would have been competing, so I just wanted it to come. But obviously there was bigger things to what was going on in the world, and I think it was the best decision that they did make, and I think hopefully now coming on in the summer will change and be the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, fingers crossed we get as normal Olympics as we can possibly hope for.
Yeah. I think the good signs are like the Australian Open is going on, and everything like that, and they're little baby steps towards having spectators in to competitions and etc. And I think the way the UFC made a private island, little things like that are little baby steps getting back to normality. And I think hopefully more and more we can do with them, the Olympics they'll go ahead and be the biggest one of them all.
With that said, you're hoping that Tokyo are learning from all these other events that are being held, because I guess they're just hosting 10 times more, I suppose, than that.
Just take what you can from each one, and hopefully it'll all puzzle together.
Exactly. I just want to start by asking you about your early life in Liverpool as well. What was it like growing up, and how was your childhood?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm Scouse, I'm proud. I remember always wanting to fight in the street and play out in the street and everything, and I think that's just a natural Liverpool thing for everyone. And yeah, I do miss them moments being back at home. And I think like when I had to move to Manchester when I was young, I was quite sad at first. I was like, I don't want to go to Manchester. It's like rivalry and everything. But I do miss it.
You can tell from your accent you're very strong, Scouse.
Yeah, it's still in me, and I'm trying to keep it as much as I can.
I guess, when did sport enter your life? How did that first become like part of your childhood? Were you always active? Were you kind of enjoying PE and stuff at school and stuff like that? Yeah,
I was a proper tomboy. I loved playing out. I loved doing anything in PE, trying to be involved in everything. If it was running, it was dancing, anything. Like I wasn't even good at any of them, but I just wanted to be involved in sport and be active. I was always out playing and everything. So But my friend used to do Taekwondo, one of my best friends from Liverpool, and she already did it before me, and she was like, do you want to come one day after school? And I thought, what is it? I don't even know what it is. Didn't know how to spell it or not, and didn't know what it was. I thought, I'll go on then, I'll come with you. And then I remember walking into the club that I went to, which was called Liverpool Elite, and everyone was just like kicking and screaming and battering each other basically, and they all had these white dobocks on, and I thought they were like, what are they wearing, like some pajamas or something, and I just didn't know what was going on. But then there and then I joined into the session, and I fell in love with it straight away. I thought, oh, this is so different, something I don't know. I didn't know it was in the Olympics or anything. I just got involved straight away, and everything came what it was, and I'm here now, so yeah.
Well, this is your first defining moment, that day you first went to Taekwondo and started taking it up when you were about 11 years old, I think you said.
Yeah.
Like you said it's a little bit different. You didn't know much about it. Was that part of the kind of excitement of it, that it was this kind of thing that you were doing? You were the Taekwondo person.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was just so different, and like because I enjoyed it, and I think with Taekwondo as well, what I learned, it was everything's so creative. You can do any kick, and it's not just like one thing to the next. There's so many kicks. There's so many different ways to score. Some people were getting knocked out left, right, and centre. Some people were like tactically playing games, and it was a bit like chess. And I thought, oh, this is so different, so unique. And then I just got to love the sport more and more. And then before I knew it, I was on a trial for GB Taekwondo to try and get into the national team when I was like 15. And I like passed this test and did like these competitions. And to be honest, I wasn't even that good. I didn't think technically I was that good, but I think because I showed heart and I loved being there and loved being in the ring, I got in from that, and then thank God I got better technically and physically, and it's step by step I got better and better.
So yeah, was that the kind of moment when you thought that this was going to be something serious for you? Because I guess up until then it was just a bit of fun, and then gradually people started noticing you and then inviting you to things, and there must have been that moment when you were like, okay, this is going to be my life from the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, so basically when I was 15, I was still in school, and I was living in Liverpool, my mum and dad, but the Manchester Academy was in, the GB Academy was in Manchester, and so I had to move and make a choice to move schools and up and leave and make sure I trained like Monday to Friday at the centre. So it was a big decision for someone who was like only 15, and plus I didn't really know that much about Taekwondo. I was just taking a leap of faith, and my mum was like, "What do you really want to do this? What is it? Like, are you sure? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just want to do it. I want to go for it." And I'm so glad that I was brave enough when I was younger to take that chance and take the leap of faith to come and basically change my life. So yeah.
Yeah, because not that easy to make that decision at that age, but I guess it kind of paid off because I think, was it only a year or two later you were competing at like European juniors and world juniors and things like that?
Well, yeah, straight away, I think I was 16, straight away I was in like a European championships. I got silver in the world championships in juniors, and then before I knew it, I was fighting seniors, and I was just like, whoa, it just goes so quick. And even now, looking back, it seems like a different lifetime, because it's been so long. I've been here for so long now. It's just like blended into one, and I'm just so happy now. And looking back now, that talking about it, that I did take that chance, and I'm happy that I went and followed my gut to do it, because I even remember going to school and having to tell the school that I was leaving, and there was one teacher that just didn't really understand why I was going. Like, they were like, "Why are you putting your GCSEs or your exams on hold? Like you just don't know if you're going to carry on with Taekwondo." And I think from there and then as well, I was like, hang on a sec, if I want to do this, I can do what I want. I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's never ever left my head. And I thought, I'm going to make sure I do the best I can. So this teacher doesn't say, "Oh, I told you so," so I can say it back. So yeah, I'm just glad I went for it, and was determined enough to keep pursuing it.
Have you heard from that teacher since?
No, I've never heard from her. I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, so it's all going pretty well for you. So you're winning world junior medals, and then I guess the next thing on the horizon for most people was the London Olympics. I guess the Home Olympics was such a huge thing for everyone in UK sport. But just moving on to your second defining moment, 2011, it was all going to plan, I guess, and then ACL. What happened there?
Yeah, so I was doing really well, progressing and becoming like a good athlete and a good. I had my mind set on going to London. I wanted to make sure I tried to get to that Olympics. That was my goal, to become an Olympian there and go out and do the best I could. And it was all going fine, and I was doing really well. And there was but I ruptured my ACL, basically snapped my left knee in half. And completely ruptured it, and I didn't even know what that was. Didn't even know there was that many ligaments in your knee. It was all just so new to me, and I had to basically learn how to walk and run again. And there was only 2 spaces actually at London Olympics, and there was 3 of us trying to compete for the space. And I was unfortunate enough to not make the team from it, and I just wish if that never happened, would I have had a better chance, or would it have made me a different journey, a different route? But I was unfortunate to miss out, and I struggle with me ACL. But I think looking back now, the athlete I am today is because of my ACL. So yeah.
What was it like when the Olympics actually came round? I mean, it must have been hard for you to kind of watch your teammates going on to have success, and it was a great chance, but there must have been that feeling of that could have been me.
Yeah, it was really upsetting, and obviously my best friend is Jade Jones, double Olympic champion, and we were in the house together. We've lived together for all that time, and it was so hard to watch her go and take that moment and go after the dreams that we all want, but at the same time I was so happy for her, and I just wished it was me at the time when I was young. But now we still live together, we're still fighting the same dream, and we're both trying to go to Tokyo to get gold there together.
So how long have you lived with Jade for?
We've been in the house together since 2010, so it's about 11 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we're joined by the hip basically.
That must be it must be quite amazing. I guess obviously she's 2-time Olympic champion and you're a triple world champion. It must be quite a house full of medals. And
yeah, we're doing all right, to be fair, for a house, aren't we? If anyone tried to rob us, hopefully we'd be able to defend ourselves. But yeah, it's been part of our journey, and we were saying it the other day actually, we wouldn't have been able to do it without each other. I think because we're like family now, we're like sisters. We've been best mates since we were young, and we would have been so alone on the journey if we didn't have each other. And I think we just don't really appreciate the fact that we did it together, and hopefully we can end it off on an even bigger high in Tokyo.
And I suppose for the last year, have you been able to train together in the house with each other? Yeah,
so in lockdown, we actually we were stuck down for months, wasn't we? And we actually had to change the garage that we had. It was an absolute tip. It was proper messy, and we thought we have to change it because we're going to have to train, because we didn't know if the Olympics was cancelled then. So we've actually converted the garage into a little mini Taekwondo gym, and then we were training in there twice a day, every day, just until we knew what was going on. And then even after we got told the Olympics was postponed, we still carried on training because we knew we still had another year to go to train and be even better. So we've had some really good sessions in the gym, and the neighbours hate us, but together we've been through this pandemic together, we've been through this journey together, and hopefully we can both finish it off with a nice shiny gold medal.
So does Jade inspire you, and I guess vice versa, do you inspire her?
Yeah, definitely. To see what she's done and accomplished is unbelievable, and mentally and physically, and I couldn't be more proud of her alone and of her best friend as well. So I'm rooting for her all the way for the next one as well.
Obviously, you say you trained together a little bit, but you were in different weight categories. Can you just explain how the weight categories work? Because at World Championships, you're different to what you are at the Olympics, and does that filter down and make it harder to get into the Olympic team?
So basically, in the World Taekwondo, there's 8 weight categories. Before the Olympics, it only gets combined into 4. So there's basically 2 weight categories get pushed into one main one. So example, I'm in heavyweight, which is plus 67 for the Olympics, but in the world category it would be minus 73 or plus 73. So them 2 weight categories get combined. So there is more people in the Olympics because of the weights, but at the same time, because you can only have a certain amount of people from each continent, each country, etc., there's actually less people as well, so it's quite confusing, but it basically gets the best of the best into a category, so yeah.
And I suppose, like with Jay being a lighter weight, when you're sparring together, that's good for you because you obviously, when you're competing at the World Champs, you're competing with your level, but then when they get merged, you compete with people who are a bit lighter. So that must help a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. She's a lot faster, so she's got that speed. So I'm always trying to work against her with the speed, and then vice versa for her. No one's ever going to be as strong in her category than me, hopefully anyway, so it helps her with like length and strength, so we definitely use each other to help push us, and to be fair, we always try and push and fight each other to make each other the best. We're always at each other trying to go for it, and then after the end we're like talking and chatting about it, what we've done right or wrong, and we couldn't have asked for a better friendship and journey together. Like if we were in the same weight, it would be a bit different. It would be like battling off every day, but this is that we can do it together in separate weights.
So yeah, obviously after London, you hoping to get to Rio, but before that, another injury. It's kind of like part two of your defining moments again, is the ACL.
Yeah, so after that I got over it. I thought, that's it, pick myself up, I'm going to go to Rio, I'm going to become Olympic champion there. But it was going okay. I became European champion, I was winning opens, international competitions, and then I ruptured my right ACL, and it's just snapped in half again, and it was in 2014. So this time it didn't feel as bad because I had an extra year to get back, but I just thought, oh no, why has this happened again? But to be honest, this second ACL definitely became part of the journey I am on now. It became I was more mentally tough, I was more physically tough after it, and it made me like learn life lessons about like picking myself up and going for it and having a different attitude. And from then it was what made me, and what basically broke me made me after it. And I think that one set where I was, and then after that I became better and better and better, and I only had 7 months this time to compete from my operation to fighting in the World Championships, which was a massive step to try and become the top 6 in the world to qualify for the Olympics. So it was a big stepping stone. And then obviously I did really well and became world champion in 2015 with 7 months, and then that's where the story began.
And I suppose having been through that process before with the same injury, but although it was a different knee, I guess you probably learned from what you did first time, and you knew you could make that time a little bit smaller if you could.
Yeah, definitely. I had the T-shirt, didn't I, already? So I wore it proud and did what I could, learned what was right, what was wrong for the first one, what to do, what not to do, and I think that definitely helped. And then that made me accelerate better and quicker for the second operation.
And then going into those World Champs, did you feel a little bit less pressure in a way, because it was like, oh, I've made it here, I'm just going to do my best and see what happens?
Not really. I still wanted to win, so I still put so much pressure on myself. But it was more like I wasn't as expected to win. But I think for me, no matter what, I always want to win every competition. I always put pressure on myself. But me going out there, and I think sort of being the underdog, like I could barely walk not a few months before that, let alone kick and become world champion. But I mentally got good and mentally prepared myself for it. And 5 fights later, I became world champion that day, and I just couldn't believe it. It was more like, 1, I became world champion, and 2, I've done it with such a bad injury. Like, it's the crazy what makes you truly become what you are, because it was all mental, not just physical. And I think that's when I learned more and more about the mental side and about not breaking, and that'll never leave me.
Well, yeah, this is your third defining moment, that first world title in 2015, and I guess in the 4 years building up to that, with those 2 horrible injuries, missing the Olympics, how sweet was that gold medal? Oh,
it was so good. I just remember, like, it went and the time went, and I was like, oh my God, I've done it, like, just like on repeat in my head, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It didn't really sink in straight away. The only thing what didn't keep it that sweet was actually my granddad was not very well that time, and he was sick before I left, and I said, I'm going to make sure I win for you, and it was a big promise to say before I left. But that day he died and I didn't know, so I was waiting to ring home and be like, oh my God, I've done it. Is his granddad there? But he passed away just before the final, and it was just like, whoa, like it just makes me feel more connected with him, and I felt like I've done it. I finally did it, and I got to show him, and I was like devastated that he passed away. But I think that moment, that day, will never leave me, because I had such a high into such a low, and it was just like an emotional roller coaster, especially for winning my first ever senior world championships.
Yeah, that's quite an emotional day for you, I suppose. When you look back on your life, that'll be quite a high and low point. I mean, I suppose for the family, it must have been a mixed bag for them as well.
Yeah, well, I remember ringing them on FaceTime, and they were all like together, like they was all together anyway from the hospital, but they were all together in my nan's, and they were all like, all the eyes were dead red, and all like, no one had makeup on, nothing. I was just like, hang on, something's going on here. Straight away, I knew instantly, like I was just like, what's going on? Instead of like, oh, I've won. And then they were just all cheering and crying, and I was just like, oh no, I clicked on there, and then what happened. And I think if anything, moments like that brought our family together so much, and we are a tight family anyway, but I'll never forget them little moments where they're all just cheering but crying inside because of what's just happened. So the fact I got to do it with my family was obviously just a little bit helpful, but it'll never leave us.
Yeah, a bittersweet moment, but again, like you say, something that's going to unite you as a family.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you're world champion. The Olympics is the next year. It's suddenly like, oh, we could have a medal chance here with Bianca, and I guess you must have been thinking the same.
Yeah, definitely. I was set on gold, only gold. I just thought, this is it. This is my chance. If I get even better, especially from the injury, from the World Championships, I've got a really good chance. And then I got selected for the Worlds, I qualified for the spot, and then before I know it, I was in the Olympics. And I remember I knew I was going to go out there and I was either going to get gold or bronze, because my hardest fight was in the semi-final. And I remember going on, I was just so unlucky. I got caught in sudden death, which is an extra round in Taekwondo. So when it gets even score at the end of the 3 rounds, you have to go to an extra round, which is the first point to win. And in sudden death, it's like a 50-50 chance no matter what. And I was unfortunate not to get, and I thought, well, that's it. I don't want to fight again. I don't want to fight for this bronze. I only came here for gold. I was a bit like a spoiled child, to be fair. But I remember my coach saying, like, you'll regret every minute of it if you don't go out there now and turn that gold that you had into bronze, and you have to fight for it. And I remember coming out and I was sulking. I was just like, I don't even want to be here. Walking out, but then I see my family in the crowd. And my little brother, I'll never forget, was like, come on. And I thought, oh God, if I can't do it now, when can I do it? And then I did the business, and came home with an Olympic medal. But at the time, it was even that was bittersweet. I was so happy I got a medal, but so upset that it wasn't the colour I wanted.
Yeah, so how looking back on that now, do you feel like that was, the bronze, but it's still an Olympic medal, and I guess it must have changed your life in some way. So do you still feel the same way, or are you happy with that bronze for now?
No, yeah, definitely. It's definitely changed my life, and I'll never. If I was sitting here now and I'm regretting that I never went for it, and I wish I had the chance to go for it and not just think it was nothing, I know I'd be devastated, because I've heard stories like that before, and I think I am glad I did go out, and I am proud of my Olympic bronze medal in Rio. But if anything, it's just made me want to pursue to get gold even more in the next one, because that is like the only thing I have left to complete on my Taekwondo list. I have all the other medals, I have all the other gold medals in every other event. So that is the last one I just need to tick off, and hopefully I can do it in this summer coming up.
And what was it like to be an Olympian, given you missed out on London? What was that moment to actually be at the games and with everybody else? Was it exciting? Yeah,
it was good, especially because obviously I had heartache from the first one. Gutted I didn't go, I missed out, and then it was the chance like, oh, now I'm here, this is what it was all about. this is the moment everyone watches on TV, everyone lives for, and just to be a part of that was so special. And like they are the little moments you do forget at the time and take for granted, but looking back to be part of Team GB and go out there and try and accomplish a dream not many people get to do, like not many people get to even go to the Olympics, let alone come back with a medal or win it. So yeah, like I'll always be proud of that moment and becoming an Olympian for Team GB.
And also, your boyfriend Aaron Cook was out there competing as well, because he missed London 2012, very controversial circumstances at the time, switched to represent for Moldova. So I guess he was in a different team. Would you actually have even seen him out there?
I actually did, yeah. I did see him there. Made sure I knew where the Moldovan the village was, so to make sure I could go and see him. But yeah, it was good to be there together, competing. And just I think with the roller coaster of a journey that we've had in sport, up and down, injury, controversy, everything like that, I think it was nice to just be there together and compete at an Olympics together. Obviously it didn't go the way Aaron expected, and hopefully now he can change it and qualify for the Tokyo one, and we can do one more Olympics together and come back with 2 shiny gold medals.
Yeah, so do you two like obviously inspire each other and motivate each other to improve all the time as well?
Yeah, so I'm actually really lucky. Aaron is my training partner as well for the Olympics, and he's actually been able to come and help me train day in, day out. And for me to have a boy constantly and actually like tough opponent all the time, pushing me and making me become the best, is the perfect training partner I could get for, and it's just lucky enough that he is my boyfriend. Sometimes we absolutely go crazy and start battering each other, and I think it's like couples therapy sometimes. But yeah, I've been so lucky that he can be my training partner and be a part of my journey. We can be a journey together, and he's always inspired me when I was younger, and when I first known him, because he was like he's had such character and attitude and entertainment for the sport, and he still does now, and like watching that made everyone want to be involved in Taekwondo, and I think like I took that and wanted to take it from him and made sure I had a little bit of that for me. So he's definitely made me become the fighter I am today with the attitude that I've got.
And yeah, you've been quite lucky in a way to live with an Olympic champion, and your boyfriend's helping you train. You've got this own little setup there that's working really well. Yeah,
it's perfect, really. We're all together all the time, all 3 of us all the time, just constantly training, eating, sleeping, playing games, because we've been friends for so long as well, all of us. It's crazy that I've been so lucky to be on this journey together with them both, and the 2 successful athletes that they are, and I think like I'm so blessed to be a part of the journey with them.
And do you feel like you guys as a group have kind of helped grow the sport of Taekwondo in the UK?
I hope so. I hope we've I definitely would say we have, but I hope that the more people that watch us and have been inspired by us, and if we could just inspire one person just to take up Taekwondo, each one of us, then I think we'd all be so happy and made up that we've contributed to the sport. And I think like together we all have individually as well, and hopefully we can keep doing it more and more, and the more people we do get into the sport and make the sport grow it is, then we'll be over the moon, and we'll appreciate what we've done when we're older.
Just looking at your 4th defining moment, which was after the Olympics in Rio, when you secured all of the Grand Prix events. How does that all work, and what does that mean to get all of them?
Yeah, so basically there was a Grand Prix that came, which was what we were saying before about the weight categories. So basically it's the best of the best. This is the Olympic categories getting pushed together, but anyone from any country and number of countries can go into this weight, where in the Olympics you can only have 16 players. With this one you can have the best of the best. So this is technically the hardest competition on paper for Taekwondo. So these Grand Prix came along a bit like tennis, so you have a Grand Slam and it's in different countries, so we have 4 every year, and then each one became and give us ranking points to be the top 6 at the end of the year to qualify. So in 2017 it was the first time we had 4 Grand Prix in one year. This was like the first time we could show it off and everything, and I actually ended up winning all 4 Grand Prix, which was so hard to do, just to win one alone. but I don't know how I did it, and became world number one and won every category, Grand Prix. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Like, that is so amazing. Like, I remember being in the last one thinking, if I win this, I'm the only person to do it. Like, I'm the only person, come on. And then I think it just, from there, made me realise, like, how good I am and how much I've come on to become one of the best people in Taekwondo. And hopefully I can keep pushing that, because my ultimate dream is to become the best female heavyweight I can possibly in Taekwondo. So if that's helped me a little bit push that dream ahead. And right now, even now, no one else has done it. No one else has done the four. So not even in the male or female. So hopefully I can keep the title as long as I can.
Did you think that was going to be how your career went? Because it seemed to take you a while to kind of get up to speed in a way, and then to have that moment where you'd won all four, was that moment of self-belief, like, I can actually do this, and I have done it, and it's taken me a long time to get here, but I am as good as I thought I could be?
Yeah, and it was just like, it was a bit like of a relief as well. It was like, all this is worth them moments, everything I've been through, all the injuries, the ups and downs, moments like that are priceless, and that's what we all compete for, to be the best, to try and be number one, and there can only be one person who is number one. So at that time I was just so happy and made up. And I remember being in the shop the next year, I think it was like in the supermarket, and there was like a Guinness World Record book on the side. I thought, let's look at this, and I opened it, and I was in it because of them Grand Prix, and I was just like, oh my God, I've made it, this is it, this is the best moment of my life in the middle of the supermarket. And then little moments like that don't go away with you, and I'll always remember them little moments because of all that work I put in, and hopefully I can keep pushing and create even more moments like that.
Well, and that actually moves on to your fifth defining moment, which the money that you got from that, you ended up setting up your own pizza restaurant.
Yeah, so there's a Grand Slam. So there's a Grand Prix and a Grand Slam. So this is new as well. This is one at the end of every year now. And it's where the best athletes come together. I think it's only 12. You have to get invited to go to that competition. You either have to win a World, you have to win a Grand Prix or the Olympics. So it's only the best of the best, even smaller. So I remember it was the first time it ever happened, and it was the first time Taekwondo had a prize money event, like a big prize money event. And I thought, oh God, this would change like our lives. Taekwondo doesn't get that much money or that much publicity for it, so this could like change our lives. And I remember going out there fighting for it, and I won the first ever one in 2017 after winning all four. And I was just like, oh, if I do this, I can win a house. I can buy a house with it. And then I ended up winning, thinking, yes, I'm going to win a house. But I didn't buy a house. I actually went with my mother, and I made a pizzeria restaurant and made a business from it. And now I have my very own family business with my mother and father and that, called Di Scala Pizzeria. So that I turned that money I won into something else for the rest of my life.
You've got Italian heritage, so is that why you chose a pizza restaurant, and what's the kind of family importance of that?
Yeah, the Italian side definitely makes it with the pizza, but it was too because I absolutely love bread. I thought I'm going to have to do something with bread. It's either pizza or bread, and my mum knew how to make pizzas, so and we thought we'd go down the pizzeria route. And it's like authentic Neapolitan pizzas, and because my family's from Naples, it all just seemed to click together. And then we named it after my granddad's surname, which is Di Scala, so now it's called Di Scala Pizzeria. So it all just worked out the right way, and it just became what it was slowly by itself. So yeah.
And how's the business going at the moment?
It's a bit quiet, to be fair, because of COVID. It's not been the best. Everyone's been getting locked down, haven't they? But we're doing what we can, and it's open for takeaway if anyone wants to go. It's in Liverpool, my goal, so make sure you pop down.
Sounds good. I wish I could order some, but I'm in London, so a bit too far away.
Be a bit cold.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's nice to have other interests outside of Taekwondo. Do you find it's a little bit too consuming as a sport, or do you enjoy like looking out for other things to do?
I think like because I've always been so focused on Taekwondo, it is hard to do something else at the time because we train so intense. It's constant, and it's no seasons off. It's all year round, every year. So it is full on all the time. But I think sometimes having a little something else to focus on can make you do a little bit better in the sport because you're not overthinking, overburning yourself out. So it was nice to just have a little something else to look forward to and a little backup for myself. So when I finish Taekwondo or when I want to switch off from Taekwondo, I can do that.
Yeah, so what entails like Taekwondo training? How often do you train? How hard is it? I mean, compared to other sports, I guess, like you say, there's off seasons and on seasons. You guys just seem to be going all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. There's no off season, and the most we get off is a week after we've won like the Worlds or something. And that's the best we get. But I think like we have to because it's changing so much all the time, and we have to make sure we're ready and on the ball. But we train Monday to Friday every day. We do 2 to 3 sessions every day, which are like 2 hours long. So it's pretty full on. And then we get the weekend off, to be fair, just to literally sleep, eat, recover, and then start back again on Monday.
Wow, it's a brutal lifestyle.
I know, I'm not selling it really, am I? I mean, it is really fun, to be fair, but it is tough work. Anything worth it is... you've got to put the work in, and it's hard to get. So yeah.
And you can get a pizza restaurant out of it if you're good enough.
Yeah, and then you can eat all the pizzas after. So yeah.
And then looking into 2019, you're double defending world champion going into the world champ. So you won in 2015, won in 2017. You're going for the hat trick. It's in Manchester, which is where you train. How was that championships, and what was the atmosphere like competing there?
Yeah, it was great to have world championships at home to make sure like. To have such a big event, you're never in your UK, you never really get your family to get to come and everything. And it was lucky that it was just before COVID, so there was people in the crowd to come. I just remember thinking I could make so much history here now, become the first one to become triple world champion in that weight. And I just went out there thinking, come on, I can do this. But it was a bit controversy in the final with my rival from China. So I was actually losing the fight, but I thought I've got to find a way to win. No matter what, I've been brought to never give up and die trying no matter what. And I remember I couldn't get through, and I just didn't know how I was going to score my point. So, but in Taekwondo, if you can get someone disqualified by making them get 10 warnings, if like they don't fight, if they don't want to engage in the ring, or they step out the ring, if they fall over. And I remember I got to like 4 gamjungs before like a minute, and I thought, she's not fighting, why isn't she fighting? She's just being so defensive. And then I decided, that's it, I'm going to get you disqualified. Like, I am not leaving this mat unless I'm world champion. And I dug deep and went for it and became world champion and got her disqualified. But it all just like crumbled, and she like complained there and then straight away, and it like ruined my moment to become making history, which was like really horrible at the time, to like become world champion for the 3rd time, but like get like booed for it because I didn't do it in the right way on paper. And I think like sport's all about like different moments and different ways to win. If it was all the same, it wouldn't be exciting. And I just remember I was like, no, I don't train all my life to become number 2. I trained to become number 1, and I did the job. And it sort of like felt like horrible to win that way, but if I went back and told anyone, I would do it all again, because I'm sitting here now as triple world champion, and the legacy I want to leave is to become the best. And right or wrong, I did what was right to become the world champion there and then. And I think like moments like that make you stronger, to realise like I don't ever give up. I stand there and fight till the end, even if it was not the way I wanted to win. I made sure I did win, so it was definitely a life lesson for me.
And I guess that is kind of within the rules, like you say. You didn't break any rules.
Yeah, I didn't break no rules. I just made them a different way. Normally, you win on points. I won by getting a disqualified, but I think because it was the final, it was more of a thing. If it happened like on the first round or the 2nd, 3rd, 4th fight, no one would remember because it happened before in the day, but no one paid attention because it was a world final. But if I could do it all again, I would do it all again, or try and knock it out next time.
Well, I guess, unless, like you said, if she wasn't fighting, then there's not much else you can do either.
Exactly, yeah. I wasn't going to stand there and let someone take that medal off me. So I made sure I did what I could, like I said, in the rule book as well. And then it's not even my decision, it's the referee's decision to give out the gamjungs, and they just came, and the more she complained, the easier it was for me to get her disqualified. And I thought I wouldn't let myself get disqualified, so it's only her to blame too.
How was the reaction to that? Did you get any negative press or negative reaction?
Yeah, I did actually. A load of Chinese fans started following me and started they gave me like quite bad abuse for like I pushed her and I got it out, I didn't win the right way and all that kind of stuff. But I think it just comes with it. Like, if you were in my situation, what would you have done? Would you have just settled for silver, or you don't even do the sport? So it was quite hard to take, especially because I don't really I've been quite lucky and had such really good support on social medias and everything. I always want to be nice to everyone and be liked. So I think it was really hard to take at the time, and it was the first time something like this in Taekwondo was like happening. The bad press was coming out from like social media trolls and stuff, so it was really hard to take. And at first I didn't really know what to do, because I didn't want to celebrate me win, and then I was getting all this bad abuse from it. So it was really quite like a new mental challenge for me. But then it eventually died off, like it always does. The people who love me and support me were always there for me. And then now it's just every time we fight, it's just a big fight every time, because it's both rivalries fighting all the time. The only good thing that came out of it was we actually won best rivalry, and we won a few bob for it together. And I thought, well, if I didn't push it out, then it wouldn't have happened. So I wouldn't have won, and I wouldn't have won the best rivalry. So it's definitely got the sport out there.
Yeah, it's definitely getting people tuning in to watch it.
And if we fight again in the Olympic final, I think a lot more people will be watching now, because they'll know their moments.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned the upcoming Olympic final. Do you feel like you're on track? Is everything going to plan so far?
Yeah, so we're lucky that we've been allowed to train still and compete in the gym that we have. Like, we've been allowed to get out the garage and compete and fight in the National Training Centre with everyone. Obviously, it's not the same. We haven't been to many competitions, so I feel a bit like rusty with the competitions and ring time. But we've got time. We're on track, and I'll do whatever I can to become the best version of myself in Tokyo and die trying for that gold medal.
How has the sport kind of changed and evolved? Have you had to kind of go through hoops a little bit with the rule changes, and what have you learned from everything?
Yeah, so when I first started, there was no electronic system or nothing. So now we have an electronic system where our feet pads have like sensors in. So if we hit accurately and strong enough on the body pad and head guard, it becomes a point. Where back in the day it was referees, and the more you shouted, the more clean you got at the point you got. So that means kicks have changed, styles have changed, which is easier to score on the pad, which is not. But this has happened over and over through the years, and that's what I was saying before about you can't have an off season, because it changes that quick. You have to make sure you're ready and you're adapting to the game, the new style, and consistently updating yourself for just the rules alone. So it is tough. It is tough to constantly change, because you think once you've got there, you're good, but then it changes again next week and you've got to add something in straight away. So it is mentally and physically demanding, but hopefully they don't change anymore until after the Olympics now.
Yeah, so what, as fans that are going to be watching in Tokyo, is there anything that's changed since the last Olympics that we might need to know about?
Yeah, I think since the last Olympic, I don't know if it was I think it's 3 points now for the headshot and 5 if you spin, and an extra 2 for the body, etc. But I'm pretty sure, this is really bad that I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was 3 points then. But basically, all you need to do is, when you're watching the Olympics, the more points, the better you win, the more and you win at the end of the round. If you lose your round, you're out. You've got to keep winning and get as many points as you can. If you knock someone out, you win. So they're the easiest rules to follow, to be fair. A knockout, a win, and if you lose, you're out. If you win, you've got to win all the way.
And the headshot's still the best one to go for? Headshot's
the best one, or a spin. Like a spin, you get your extra point.
Okay. what's your kind of like dream scenario for Tokyo then? What's the best thing that could happen?
The best thing that can happen, I have 4 fights, I knock everyone out, and it's easy. That's the best situation. And I come back with gold. That would be like an absolute dream.
And if that did happen, what would you be doing after that? Would you still carry on with Taekwondo, or will you just decide and see what happens?
Well, because if it was 2020, I would be saying I would be going on holiday. I'd be doing absolutely going crazy, having fun. Me and Jade are going on holiday. We've already planned it. But because it's in 2021 now, there's actually a World Championships in October. So I might have a few days off and then try and become 4 times world champion in October, and then I'll have a holiday.
I think that's fair. And then longer term after that, I mean, is retirement something you contemplate at the moment, or are you still just thinking Taekwondo is going to be the next few years of my life?
Yeah, I definitely think Taekwondo is definitely still in my life for a few more years. I'm not writing off Paris at all. Definitely going to go try for Paris. But because Tokyo is here now, it's all about Tokyo, it's all about gold. I can't look too far ahead. Not even the World Championships, that's after the Olympics. I've got to think about the Olympics first, and then each one after that will come along. But I ain't going anywhere, yeah.
And then if the day you do decide to kind of retire, what do you see yourself doing? Were you going to coaching, or will you just completely switch away from Taekwondo?
To be honest, after it all, I want to have my very own sport complex. Like, I love the idea of a UFC facility, and what they have in Las Vegas is unbelievable. So if I could do anything like that for mixed martial arts, Taekwondo, anything in one centre, that's what I'll try and create. So look out for a sports complex in a few years, hopefully.
And will that be in Liverpool or Manchester?
I don't know. The best place probably near Liverpool, because get the fighters there quicker, won't I?
Yeah. Okay, just looking back on everything we've discussed, do you have any regrets over your career?
No, what's the point regretting nothing? You do everything in life to live for the moment, so no regrets, nothing at all. Obviously, there's moments I wish were different and I changed or won, but they're not regrets, they're just part of the journey, so no regrets for me.
And of the 5 moments that you picked, which I'll just remind you of, was first one, starting Taekwondo when you were 11. Second one, which was both of your ACL tears and ruptures. Third one was your first world title in 2015. Fourth one was winning all the Grand Prix in 2017 in the same year. And then the last one was your pizza restaurant. If you had to choose one, which would be the one that defined you the most?
To be honest, I don't want to say it, but I think my 2 ACLs made me who I am and the athlete and the person I am today. I hate the fact that I've just admitted that, but that definitely made me stronger mentally and physically. So I'm going to go for maybe 2 ACLs, not 1, 2, left and right.
Well, I guess it does. It changed your path, didn't it? It changed your story, as it were, because you might not have been as motivated had you gone to London and won gold or whatever. You don't know what would have happened, and do you think it has made you stronger overall? Yeah,
definitely. Like, I might not have won all the world championships that I have won, or the European championships, everything like that, or the Grand Prix. I might not have had that much success after if I didn't do that with my ACLs, because I wouldn't have learned about the mental side more, and I wouldn't have engaged with it as much. So I would have just been like, it's all about physical, etc. So I think definitely, like, looking back now, I do always say it, even though I hate it and would touch wood it never happen again, or wouldn't let anyone go through that. It definitely did change me and define me into the athlete I am today.
And if you had to go back to that 11-year-old Bianca who was going to her first Taekwondo session, what would you say to her?
Watch your knees, I'm doing No, I would say just go for it even more. Like, be happy, enjoy it, and just don't care what people think. Go for it. Go for what you want and enjoy every moment and every day, because it goes so quick. And I wish I could go back and just live it all again, because time goes so quick, and I hope that's why you've got to live in the moment every day, because even now, like, look how quick the COVID's gone. The COVID situation's happened for everyone. A whole year has vanished before we know it, and that it seems like yesterday we got told that we had to be locked down. So just to go for it and enjoy every moment.
And finally, we've discussed obviously a lot over the last half an hour or so. What does sport and Taekwondo in particular, what does it mean to you and how important is it in your life?
Yeah, sport for me is massive. I think for the world as well, sport changes the world. There's so much passion, love, friendship you get. It shows you so many life lessons as well that you don't even know about until you realise in life itself. Like, it teaches you how to work hard, get up, keep getting up, resilience, patience. It teaches you everything. I would recommend sport to everyone. Just find the right one for you. It doesn't have to be elite, it doesn't have to be a professional. It can be amateur or just for fun, or just however fast or slow you want to go. But sport definitely can make you happy and joy, and it gives you so many life lessons. So I would definitely not push it out your life. Definitely try and push it in there.
Yeah, I think on that note, we'll let everyone ponder that and think of what sports they can take up.
Yeah, go and get a sport, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on My Defining Moments. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and good luck for Tokyo.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and fingers crossed I can come back on and say I have got my gold medal.
Well, thank you, Bianca. Hopefully when I'm next in Liverpool, I'll be able to swing by your pizza place and drop in for a slice of pizza. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the My Defining Moments podcast on pretty much all of the suppliers. You can like or leave a comment, or contact me at ChrisBrownSport on all the socials. And I'll be back very soon with some more My Defining Moments.